Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Tyranny with me, Bring It On. Before we leave the disfavored camp, I wanted to do some training. Because Verse is about to level up, so I'm going to give her 5 levels of parry. It's not very expensive. Oh, okay, so every level you unlock 5 more. That's why I started with 10. So the first time I came here and trained, I had 10 points, I think. So you get 5 points per level. And it seems like they stack too, so you don't have to spend them all at once. So that way, you have time to find a trainer that you want to train with. Cool. I keep giving her parry because she can't get dual wield training here. And then for Barrick, I'm going to give him points into parry, since he is our acting tank. And then I'm going to train my athletics with, is it Marcus? No, it's Lucia. Or Lucia. Or Lucia. I'll take just 7 points into my athletics. There we go.
Will do.
And then she leveled up, so let's give her, I guess, quickness. Or I want finesse. This uses quickness and finesse. Looks like quickness gives you a higher multiplier at 1.5 versus 0.5 for finesse. Works for me. A level up bonus plus 20% endurance defense plus 20% will defense for 30 seconds. Neat. Alright, so for here, I haven't mapped out what I'm going to get for her yet, but I do know I'm going to go down the duelist tree. So Mocking Iron, Verse taunts her foe, enraging them and forcing them to attack her for a brief time. So does everybody get a taunt ability? So that's what it's looking like so far. Know your enemy. When an enemy strikes Verse, she gains a passive bonus to dodge and parry skill until combat ends. That also sounds really good. Killing spree after a kill, Verse will strike twice with her attacks for a short time. Fury's Rush. Verse moves quickly about the battlefield, too quickly for enemies to engage her. That sounds pretty good. Because then she can just rush to the back line, right? And go for their ranged squishy casters and stuff like that. So we're going to go with Fury's Rush, I think. For right now. Also, one more thing before we leave. I know, I'm eager to leave the disfavored camp as well. But this Fatebinder gear has unique descriptions. So the ceremonial Fatebinder of Tunon Helm. Headgear worn by Tunon's Fatebinders are made to withstand extreme weather conditions. As agents of the court are prone to visiting regions struck by Kyros' edicts, the guard must be resilient and adaptable by necessity. The leatherwork protects the head from harm, while insulating against cold, but offers sufficient space to breathe in environments of extreme heat. And then the boots. Now, these boots are typically worn in the halls of Tunon's courts, are made to last several years. Long marches and the prolonged military campaign have weathered them past the point that most respectable officers of the court would deign to wear them. And then the armor. The leather raiment assigned to Tunon's elite lawbringers is prominently decorated with the court sigil. Court garments are fitted to their owners with care, and no two are exactly alike. Minor variations in design and tailoring reflect something of the wearer, whose devotion to the archon of law is recognized and celebrated by the very right to don such finery. Always nice when the game gives me a name drop like that. Alright, feeling good. And the training isn't super expensive either. I don't feel bad about having spent all that cash. Alright, to the Scarlet Chorus Camp. The Scarlet Chorus have taken residence within the decayed walls of an old fortress. It is currently the base of operations for the Voice of Nerat's campaign in the valley. Your path is blocked by a small group of Vendrian Guard. You can go no farther until you deal with them. Sweet. So there are random encounters, it looks like, unless this is a static encounter. I'm excited for some more combat. It's been too long. Alright, this does not look like a random encounter.
That's far enough, Fatebinder.
A woman's voice booms from atop a nearby outcropping. Flashes of aquamarine body paint peek out from under her loose-fitting traveler's garb, and her outfit is festooned in braids and knots of sailor's line. Flanked on either side by warriors dressed in Vendrian Guard regalia, the woman leans on an elaborate bladed staff pulsing with arcane energy. A swath of blue fabric rests draped over her arm. The blue-bodied pigment, bladed staff, and complex braided attire are the traditional trappings of the School of Tides. According to Fatebinder Rogalus, the majority of the school fled before the coming of Kyros. The remainder were last seen during the first campaign in Vendrian's Well. The School of Tides traditionally studies the magic of water and gravelight, the art of directing the moon's arcane light into baleful, searing energy. Oh, her name's Ebb, like ebb and flow, and she's a water mage. I get it. The blue flag is a symbol of diplomacy and truce recognized across most of the known world. It is a custom the Tearsmen hold dear. To harm another person under the auspices of a blue flag is a grave offense. Both the Tears and in Kyros Empire, the customary punishment is death.
In accordance with ancient customs north and south, I offer and request a delay of blade. There are matters we must discuss without fear of reprisal.
The woman bows deeply, lowering her head in a practiced display of etiquette. The warriors by her remain in a steady stance, their nerves clearly on edge. Okay, neat. In accordance with ancient customs north and south, I abide by this truce.
As is our custom, we are ready to kill to defend our lands, but we kill only in fair battle. We don't slay our prisoners. We know this isn't Kyros' way, but we must have hope. A few of my kin have gone missing, and though they may have perished, I have to inquire on the off chance they still live. If Captain Tarkus Deimos still lives, we would negotiate for his release.
Yeah, Tarkus Deimos is dead.
I see. That is as I feared, but thank you for telling me all the same. I prefer closure to wishful thinking. If I may make one more inquiry, what of Palox Tyrell? Did he survive?
They rarely have the luxury of matching names to the countless Tearsmen you've encountered. You're reasonably certain she is asking about the Vendrian Guard warrior that took Drastus hostage at Edgering Ruins. He did not survive the encounter. Palex Tyrell is dead. She nods slowly, saying nothing for a long moment.
My apologies, Fatebinder. I had a terrible feeling this errand was in vain from the start. I had no expectations that our friends could be saved, as I'm sure the time for swapping prisoners is long gone. But at least I know of what became of them. That'll have to be enough.
Can I ask questions? I have some questions for you.
We shouldn't be socializing with Oathbreakers.
I will entertain them as best I can. After all, understanding is the only hope we have. What is it you wish to know?
Why do you resist Kyros? What are you trying to save?
I grew up without my knee bent to Kyros, and if I'm going to bow to someone, let it be another Tearsman. We've ruled ourselves just fine for centuries, so we'll give our lives so that our sons and daughters might rule themselves.
The Younger Realms are beset with constant battle. You'd prefer that to Kyros' order.
You make conflict sound like a bad thing. Yes, the Younger Realms saw frequent battles, but it was never this wholesale slaughter like we've seen of late. No Tearsman ever cast an edict on the soil, or forced prisoners to kill each other, or butchered beastmen tribes.
Only your daughters are really free in the Tears. Why fight against Kyros' equality?
There's freedom, then there's trusting idiots with power. Give a man 1,000,000 marauders, he'll lose sleep worrying over his neighbor's 1,000. I prefer my realms ruled by the braver sex. For centuries we've let the lands to the women, and the seas to the men. And we did plenty fine until Kyros came around.
What makes you think you have a chance?
Oh, we don't. Those who believed Kyros could be stopped all died years ago, in the first wave of fighting. It's not about the hope of victory. It's about the hope of inspiring others. It is very likely we will fall here in Vendrian's Well. But perhaps others will arise elsewhere.
But a mage like you would not be the subject of such superstition and fear under Kyros' reign.
I doubt life is any better sworn to some mad archon. I'd rather stand with my fellow tiersmen. Or, I suppose, stand immediately behind them in the event of an attack.
At that remark, the soldiers flanking her exchange shocked looks. Ebb turns her focus to her compatriots.
Yeah, you heard me. Way things were years back, you'd all be calling me a water witch and conspiring to sell me out to the nearest sage. Just because I'm helping you stop Kyros doesn't mean I've forgotten the hospitality of ages past.
Yeah, sorry if y'all hear me muting my mic. I'm muting it so I can sip on my coffee without disrupting the dialogue.
And people wonder why the tiersmen could never unite in time to fight back. It's refreshing to see that some things never change.
Let me ask of something else. She nods, soundly awaiting your follow-up. How did you and your friends overthrow the garrison?
I would joke that the voices of Nerat left the gate unlatched, but dozens of warriors lost their lives taking the citadel. There was no secret to it. We simply attacked with speed and certainty at a time when the Archons were elsewhere in the tiers. The Scarlet Chorus had a rout, and what few disfavored soldiers were present made an impressive showing. But they were surrounded and overwhelmed once the chorus fled.
Who's in charge of this insurrection?
Listen to you. Thinking just like the Overlord wants you to think. There always has to be a person in charge, or things don't make sense. Well, we don't answer to anyone. We are each of us sons and daughters of the tiers, and take this task upon ourselves freely. But Captain Tarkus Ari, former Falksman of Queen Vendrian Alanta, is the voice we trust when we seek unanimity.
I assume Tarkus Ari and Tarkus Deimos are relations.
Yes. Deimos was Ari's brother. We were certain he was dead, but the captain takes family seriously, so I volunteered to find some answers. And now here we are.
Did you kill any of the disfavored prisoners with magic?
That's some sort of trick question? No, we don't kill prisoners, magic or otherwise.
Were there prisoner swaps in the past?
That is our way, Binder. Here in the south, only thugs and bandits kill prisoners. The younger realms may be guilty of constant fighting, but we never slay each other when the battle's long over. We're not about to change that now. As a rule, Kyros' forces haven't been keen on swapping prisoners. But I know our disfavored prisoners aren't prisoners anymore. I just assumed they were swapped for some of our own.
Yeah, so I'm also against the idea of killing prisoners, specifically talking about this game. But Deimos, they'd surrendered once, then they betrayed the understanding of that surrender when they rose up against Kyros' forces, so when we fought him and then captured him, I was like, just kill him. So my character doesn't mess around with the harming of Kyros' subjects. Alright, that's all.
Fair enough. But now a question for you. The edict. I can feel its magic coursing through the air. Everyone can. But those of us enlightened to the currents of magic feel it most. The wording of the edict. What was it?
I probably shouldn't tell her. I'll be honest. Kyros' forces must take Ascension Hall by the Day of Swords, or all in the valley will perish. Because this might convince them to let us in, right? Like I'm trying to be straightforward. Like, hey, just let us in there. Everything will be kosher if you just surrender.
In the name of the vaunted North, the will of Kyros should be delivered with blade and hammer, not to the ears of oathbreakers and compromisers.
Alright, chill, Barrick.
Curious. You did say all in the valley. So the edict will affect Kyros' forces? This is most unexpected.
Her eyes widen at your words. Correct.
That is most troubling. So either the soldiers come to destroy and kill us, or the edict does the work. I suppose we should be so honored the Overlord is taking no chances on us. I've another question for you, if you will entertain it.
Sure.
Are we really standing here and chatting with oathbreakers? It's hard to watch, like cuddling a goat you're going to kill for dinner.
Ask your question, Ebb.
When I was young, my parents told me the tiers were special. and the Overlord's edicts and armies could never touch us. Seems I've been told a hefty sum of lies. So answer this honestly for me, please. Is it true that Tunon's Fatebinders can smell truth from falsehood?
I'm gonna glare silently here.
Well, if it were true, you'd happily brag about it, and if it weren't, you'd probably just sit there and bluff. There's my answer.
Alright, she called me out.
And Kyros' edicts. I have heard the sages speak at length that some of the edicts elsewhere in the world have been broken. How is this?
The Overlord has some control over how the edict lingers, but Kyros only knows the exact details.
Ah, so some edicts are forever. The rest are, as long as Kyros has in mind? Needless to say, Kyros' magic is unlike anything we've seen in any Archon.
So I'm trying to build reputation or trust. Also, I'm getting loyalty with her. She's either the leader of a faction, loyalty and fear, or she's a companion. I think she's a companion, right? I know the names of most companions. I think she might be a potential companion. So, we'll keep talking to her.
And one more mildly self-indulgent question, but I simply must know. Kyros, male or female?
I honestly do not know for certain.
Really? You don't know either? You work for the Overlord, but you don't know if she, or he, has an innie or an outie?
Yeah, I guess so. I think the Overlord just wants to keep people guessing. Seems to work quite well.
You may well be correct. I've heard speculation that Kyros is a brother and sister duo, but that sounds like utter rubbish. Find me two siblings that could work together for 4 centuries, and I've an ocean to sell you.
4 centuries.
You'll forgive, I hope, the questions. The Overlord and his Archons used to be things of legend. Now they're everyday maladies, and I'm eager to separate the truth from the lies I've been told by house and guild. In accordance to our most ancient customs, let us depart in honorable accord. May peace find you, Fatebinder.
She bows deeply, pounding her staff on the ground twice before turning to leave. So I lost some loyalty with Barrick there. How much did we lose? So she has a companion. Okay, cool. Alright, not too much. It'll be fine. Again, I'm trying to find a peaceful resolution, if I can, because it'll spare the lives of our... Can I attack these guys? I cannot.
Sorry, I can't.
Combat the faintest outline of a soldier's arm in the bottom of this pond. A victim of a previous battle in the area. Some blood moss. I'll do it once around this. Oop. Oh, hello.
Huh. Have a look here.
Some free money.
Sorry, I can't.
Oh, some more stuff over here. Sable root. And waking death.
Can't do that.
The grasslands of the Tears stretch far throughout the land. Much of it remains uninhabited and unclaimed by any faction. So I'm not a huge fan of the game telling me that Ebb is a companion. The only reason I think I know it is because they released a list of the companions before the game was actually released. And so I had perused that as the game was still being worked on. Quiet Shiv and Shiver Shank. Take another step. I'll pin your foot to the dirt. A rotting body bearing a Scarlet Chorus war paint is skewered upon a wooden pike. Let's see what's going on over here. It proves everything. The warrior slams her fist together in a resounding clap. Like, for instance, whether you're fit to lead that flock of children. Behind her, the members of her gang posture with weapons held at the ready. Do you not hear the news of the edict? This is a foolish distraction. We ought to be saving our fight for the enemy. The chorus warrior looks to his gang, giving them a quick nod. He's right. The edict will kill us all if Ascension Hall is not taken soon. Well, until Fifth Eye starts the mustering chant, we got nowhere to be. She gestures to the gang across from her. So now's our chance to have it out before things get serious. And what's the problem here? No problem here, Lord Binder. She tosses her blade in the air, catching it with a smile on the way down. Captain Screwwit here seems he's about to balk from this challenge. Thinks just because he's used to run a ship, he's qualified to run a gang. She spits on the ground, looking up with a scowl. So I'm calling him out, because the way I see it, his warriors ought to follow me, not this new blood. Captain Screwwit was my father. Screwwit will do just fine. The warrior points at the opposing gang. If we have to prove our strength, we'll do so happily. But I'll have your hands and feet removed and the rest of you kept for my own use. Oh. Alright, so I'm not going to interrupt how they do things here, so I'll let you all fight this out. The soldier offers a quick, solemn nod. Come, if you'll be first to meet my blade. The gang leader tosses her knife from one hand to the next. So I don't care for the harming of Kyros' subjects, but if they're doing it at their own volition, like this, like it's how their army works, I'm not going to interfere. What are you looking at? No? I guess nothing. I will take that so we can sell it.
That wasn't so hard.
A rusted iron sword. This jagged piece of scrap metal used... Okay, so it's just a miscellaneous item.
I got it.
Nothing fancy. These are coarse grounds. State your business or get lost. The guard places her hand by her belt as you approach, gripping the hilt of a blade. Past this point is coarse territory. You don't look like someone's conscript. You sure you're in the right place? I'm always in the right place. The guard tenses up, locking eyes with you. That walking hunk of rust. What's he, she, maybe it doing here? You step in close, push her down. Before she can draw her blade, you advance. Place your foot behind hers, and give her a stiff shove on the shoulder. Caught off balance, she tumbles backwards, triggering an outburst of laughter in the other guard. So I'm trying to act how I think the Scarlet Chorus would respect me acting, just like I did with the disfavored in their camp. I can't believe you sassed the Fatebinder. He's such a stupid ponce. Didn't I tell you we had a special guest coming? The guard waves you in with a smile. Come on in. Don't let the ninny crappers in camp give you any guff. Oh, don't worry, I won't. So there's Fifth Eye. Saw marks have been painted onto this corpse, marking certain body parts as more difficult targets than others. The scroll sits here, glowing with mystical energy.
You learn something every day.
Sigil of Illusion. And our lore went up, and I leveled up. So Spectral Blur. Plus 30% graze deflection for 45 seconds. What if I add this to it? Alright, so we can empower this for 37.5% graze deflection for 45 seconds and 37% hit deflection. They can't use it, but I can. Can they use it without this? I should probably give him the other one too. And I can use the upgraded version of this. Like so, and then take this off and give this to Barrick. So this is just like Blur, I guess. A mask the target and a blurred illusion, making them harder to hit. So yeah, it's just like Blur from Pathfinder and D&D. Let's level up. So I decided I'm not going to wait and spend 2 points to upgrade any of my skills or my attributes. I'll put points into Vitality though. Because if I'm going to wear heavy armor, that gives me more armor. And since armor reduces damage, having more health stacks well with having, you know, a lot of damage reduction. So that's my what I plan on doing there. And a new skill, I'm going to get... That would potions to be more effective? I think so. Or being as low a level as we are, I think maybe the increased accuracy might be better. So I'm going to get Mark Enemy for my thrust. Does that upgrade or update my... Okay, yeah, it does tell me. Mark Enemy, cool. Then I didn't look at this missive, the Will of Kyros. Donald, word has reached this court that you have issued the Overlord's edict to the Archons of War and Secrets. Know that we understand fully the weight of this burden, and appreciate the loyalty you show in its declaration. Provided you survive this span, your service will be duly recognized. As you navigate the idiosyncrasies, I never said that, plural, and mutual antipathy of our Overlord's War Masters, remember that Kyros watches all with interest. Those who distinguish themselves, whether Fatebinder or Archon, have the opportunity to rise in the Overlord's esteem. Even now the northern courts whisper that the most successful of the two Archons will be granted rule of the whole of the peninsula. Similarly, your fortunes rest upon the decisions you make. Choose wisely. Tunon the Adjudicator, Archon of Justice. Thank him for the advice. Archon Tunon, I'm going to express my deepest appreciation for this opportunity. Few in the Empire have the honor of treating with Archons, and fewer still of reading the empowered words of the Overlord. I endeavor always to emulate your exemplary foresight and judgment. I remain in all things your faithful servant, Fatebinder Donald. Yep, send it back. Achievement unlocked. Cool. We're not going to talk to Fifth Eye yet, because I feel like he's going to have a lot to say. In fact, these arrows are splintered, they're fletching mottled, they're likely pulled from corpses. This barrel is full of murky red water. Severed limbs bob under the greasy soup skin. Ooh. Battle plans are scribbled over a blood-stained map of the Tears. Arrows point toward the inner ring. Arrows point toward the inner ring of the Vengerainswell Valley, and small circles are drawn around the citadel. Water, +1 resolve. Most of these provisions are withered with rot. Oh, it's over there.
See that?
I see it.
It's all in the reflexes.
Rot Spear. Oh, she has some of that already on her person. She came with that. So we'll just go ahead and stack that right there. Gonna give her some more health potions. The spears are brittle and rusted. So another miscellaneous item. Not a big deal. The stench of pee and fecal matter emanate from this tent. One clearly not used for rest. Small bottle. Another thing I can sell. Let me keep my eyes open. I wonder if there's a like a sell all junk button for the merchants or not. More spare parts.
Can't do that.
I cannot.
47. These threadbare tents show signs of hard use and long-term exposure to the elements. 47. Alright, we'll keep that in mind as we progress. I'll try and clear out the whole map real fast just to make sure I looted everything and checked all the points of interest. Alright, looks like we have... Oops.
Sorry, I can't.
Oh, except for this. So a bronze hammer. Higher DPS, less recovery time than the Falks. Less range. I don't care about the range. What I care about is using a hammer. Oh, it's 188. Never mind. Never mind. Let's see how it compares to what he has equipped. More DPS plus 2 accuracy. A better recovery, less range, and less armor penetration. More DPS, more recovery. And also these give her stat bonuses in parry and accuracy? Yeah, so we're not going to swap that out. I'll give that to him as his other weapon set. I doubt that we're going to use it. So I like the idea. He doesn't need to do damage. I mean, increased damage across the board is always good. But I want that passive from the spear.
Will do.
Alright, I'm going to go back down here. I'm going to call the episode. And then
Can't
in the
do
next
that.
one, we'll speak to the Scarlet Chorus, starting with Quiet Shiv back here. In the meantime, thanks for watching. I hope to see you guys in the next episode.